Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have everyone this morning. Good to see everyone. Today's a special day. We have a special treat today. I don't think I have to introduce Harrison Gibbs. I think we probably know him in the Signal Mountain congregation for a long time, and his parents. It's great to have you all and see you all here today. So I won't make that introduction. I will say a couple of things. First, just business. I know that we have a sign-up sheet going around for small groups and also one for our Wednesday night meal. So please take advantage of that. Now, back to the real thing. Harrison comes to us today as he's campus minister. If I get the title wrong, you can correct that, Harrison. Campus minister for the UTC Christian Student Center. They do a great work. We've been honored to be part of that work for several years. And again, they do a wonderful job in talking and bringing the gospel to students on the UTC campus and also Chattanooga State and others in the area. And he'll tell you all about that. So I'm not going to steal his thunder. But again, Harrison will be talking about UTC, the Christian Student Center today, and then also we'll have a treat and he'll be bringing the lesson during worship. So, Harrison.
Thank you very much. All right, so there's the Christian Student Center. We're located at 609 Houston Street, downtown Chattanooga. We have been there. I'll get into this in a little bit. But we've been at that location for 55, 56 years now. Our building, however, has been there since Rutherford B. Hayes was president. And I am reminded by that on windy days because we have a brick that has a cable, one of the, I don't know, probably like cable TV or phone line or whatever. It's bracketed to this brick, and the mortar around the brick is decomposed, and it'll go. It's very Edgar Allan Poe, and like when it's like I'm there late at night and it's like, ooh, that's creepy. So I need to. This week I'll be climbing up on a ladder and doing a little bit of brick and mortar work and trying to make that go away. But let's see, here we go. Yeah, so I'm Harrison Gibbs. I'm not the campus minister at the Christian Student. I am your campus minister. And I want to make that very, very clear. Signal Mountain is one of our supporting congregations, but regardless of whether or not one of the area churches supports us financially or through prayers or in other ways, I still consider myself as like I am. If you've got a kid going to UTC or Chattanooga State Community College or, I mean, really any of the area schools, I am your campus minister. I want to be, like the guy. Like, let me know if you've got people heading that way, because if I don't know that we have a student there on campus, then I can't. It makes it really hard for me to reach them because we've got a lot of students on campus. Now, this is my third year coming up here to Signal Mountain. With most of the churches that I go to this year, it has been either my first time or maybe my second time going to them, so I'm still kind of telling them about the nuts and bolts of the Student Center and the kinds of things we do. I'll run through those things pretty quick with y'all, but like I said, this is the third year I've done this. I'm going to try to run through those things pretty quickly. If you have questions, be sure to ask me, let me know, and raise your hand and I'll answer those. But I want to just kind of tell more stories and just tell you about what we've been up to this past year. Now, kind of a big picture view of kind of the main part of campus right here, down around, let's see, we got MLK runs right here. What's this? Vine Street that runs McKenzie Arena, 4th Street. Siskin's over here somewhere. But that's where UTC is located if you haven't been down that way. Like I said, we were established in 1970. We actually got started about 1968, 1969. We didn't have a brick and mortar until about 1969, 1970. It was very quickly then moved from where the new library is to where we are on Houston Street, just about a block and a half over in around 1970. And there was our building is an old 4-plex from the 1880s, and it was converted. The downstairs was opened up, And the upstairs were converted into apartments for student housing. So we have 4 guy apartments on one side and 4 girl apartments on the other side, separate entrances. In 2017, we were able to go in and do some major and much needed renovations of the building, so it's much more updated. When I was in college at finishing up my degree at UT Chattanooga, the general feeling of the Christian Student Center was, kind of like, it's the kind of place that you expect college students to live. It's like, this is like your, wood paneled walls. There was a lot of carpet. When Craig came in as the campus minister, he was the campus minister before me, he decided this carpet is gross, and it was. I'm going to rip it out. So he ripped it out, and there was another layer of carpet, and it was worse, and so he ripped it out. And there was another layer of carpet, and so he ripped it out. I think he said there were 7 layers of carpet and then another 7 layers of carpet padding about that thick on the floor. And so it kind of had like a spongy effect. And the worst part was in the dining room area, as he pulled back like the last few sections, he realized there was kind of a really squishy spot in one corner of the room. And when he pulled it up, the subflooring had completely fallen through. And we basically just had a carpet trampoline in one corner. And I'm thinking, like, he was telling me where that was, and it's like, that's where I used to eat. So we've been there since 1970. Central Church of Christ is the overseeing congregation of this work, but we are supported by 7 other congregations in the area. Let's see, we've got Red Bank, Signal, Tyner, St. Elmo, Saudi, Walnut Street in Dixon County, and then, did I say Signal Mountain? Signal Mountain, okay. Pretty sure I'm not missing. I think that's everybody. But anyway, that's our supporting congregations. We also have a couple of individual supporting donors. Now, UTC last year set a record. Hey, Dylan, how's it going, man? He's one of our students. He's sitting there in the back. You can fact check anything I say with him. UTC hit a record enrollment last year with over 12,000 students actively enrolled at UTC, and they were on track this year to beat that. I don't know if they beat that number or not this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because I'm already seeing students beginning to move in downtown, and classes don't begin for another 2 weeks. So it's starting to kind of, campus is coming alive again, and that's nice to see. And then of those 12,000 students, over 40 countries are represented. We get students from all over the place. This past year, we had a student that, during our Welcome Week, and I'll talk more about Welcome Week here in a bit, we do activities like every day, starting the Saturday before, sometimes the Friday before classes begin, and then they run all the way through to the Sunday after the first week of class, and then we have our regular scheduled events. So student ambassadors like Dylan, they'll start work on like a Friday or Saturday a week, the week before, and we will have some event of some kind, and a lot of times they're big events that require a lot of work every day for 12, 13 days straight. And so they work hard, and they're doing that on top of their schoolwork and coming to church, and I could not do what I do without our student ambassadors. They are incredible people. They're the ones that live in the apartments upstairs. But like I said, we had over 40 countries represented, and we had gone out to Big Saudi Gulf for a hike. And that's one of our Welcome Week events that typically gets a pretty good crowd. A lot of kids come to UTC because of, the environment that we're in. The nature is beautiful, and so when we do things like hiking or going out to a creek, we get a pretty good number from that. And we had a young lady, her name was Anya, and she was from Germany. And so she was only with us through the fall semester, but she's just one of a number of students that we get to, invite to Bible class, study with during devotional times, who come to our social events and get plugged in, and who worship with us and study the Bible with us, and then they go back home. They take the gospel with them. We have 2 students over the past couple of years that have been from Turkey that come most of the time to the things that we have food for. But we did have a ping pong tournament, and Umit is the guy's name. Dylan, he dominated that ping pong tournament y'all planned. He is an incredible ping pong player, but we've got some great students from all over the world who get to be part of this ministry. Add to the 12,000 that we have at UTC, another 7,800 at Chattanooga State. We have almost 20,000 students that we work with fairly directly. We're on their campuses. We've got students that are on their campus. They can come in. Our doors are open 9 a.m. till midnight, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday 9 to about 2. And then a lot of times if students know our student ambassadors, if they want to come in after hours, they'll check in with them, and if they're available, they'll let them in to study, to hang out, watch TV, watch a football game, play video games, eat leftovers, whatever, do the kinds of things that college students do. So right here you can see, let's go. Gold Star, that's the Christian Student Center. We're right there. Central Church of Christ is just around the block from us. We share a parking lot, which is a huge blessing, especially downtown. Parking is at a premium and only getting more scarce. The red dots are dormitories on campus. I'll be sitting in my chair at my office working on lessons. I can turn my chair around and I can see balconies of a dormitory right across the street from me. We are really, really close. We've got one of the newest dorms on campus, West Campus, right there, just adjacent to us, very, very close by. Bowling Apartments, where Peyton Oldham and I lived for briefly. The blue dots, however, those are non-campus student housing. These are walk to campus, little private organizations, apartments that students will rent and live in. So you can see we are pretty well surrounded. That's not all of them. That's just the ones that are closest. We've got a lot of students that are very, very close by. We do everything from, we used to be able to door knock on campus. We're not able to do that anymore. But we'll put signs out. We chalk campus. We do anything that we can do to let students know, hey, we've got something here for you on campus. Like we've got meals and all kinds of things. And we get a lot of just normal walk-ins. So again, there's our student center. Guy's side, the entryway goes up this way, up the stairwell. They live this way, and the girls, their entryways are here and goes up to that side. And then this whole downstairs is our fellowship area where we have meals and devotionals and everything else. That's my office right there. I love the kind of work that we get to do. The ministry that we do at the Christian Student Center. Sometimes campus ministry can fall into two categories. You can be a harbor for students in a time of a storm where they can kind of come in and be safe in the storm. Or you can be a shipyard. Shipyards are often built near harbors. And so you have the ability to have that safe space. But shipyards also make new ships, repair broken ships. The Christian Student Center we're a shipyard. Our goal is not just to provide a safe harbor during the storm, but to be a place that makes new Christians, strengthens these young people for the work ahead of them as they move, from that kind of adolescent phase of high school into adulthood. Now, this is our guys' intramural basketball team. They had a lot of guys that wanted to join the intramural basketball team, but they were very intentional about keeping the number on the team relatively small for two reasons. One reason is you don't want to have 20 people on an intramural basketball team and 10 of them never get to play. That only makes people angry and bitter. But we only had a few from the Christian Student Center that actually were wanting to and able to play. They had a few other guys that they knew from around campus that wanted to join in. And so that gave them the ability to use the basketball team as a way to kind of reach and build relationships very intentionally with a small group of students. But beyond that, before they would have their basketball games, they would ask to pray with the other teams and build connections and relationships in that way. And you can see them doing that here. We, on Thursday nights, we have all manner of social events, everything from our Halloween party, our Friendsgiving, which we typically do on Tuesdays. The Valentine's formal, we'll do minute-to-win-it games, we'll go for a hike. Pretty much every Thursday, we've got some sort of fellowship event. This was our Bob Ross paint night where I put on a ridiculous wig and coach them through painting happy little trees. And it's a fun night because the students will start out like being really meticulous with their painting, and then it gets gradually sillier as the night goes on. It's our Halloween, our trunk or treat that we do with Central. It's a great outreach thing where we have hundreds, sometimes. I think this past year it was raining and it was really cold during trunk or treat, and we still had hundreds of people show up. Stood in line in the rain because they're looking to get some of that Halloween candy, and it was a really good time to get to meet with folks and just around the community and around campus. This is from our retreat this past year. This is one of our favorite games that we play. It's called Jug Ball. Kendall, if you ever want to learn how to play jug ball, I'm here to. I really want to get the church raiders together and teach the youth ministers and the kids how to play. It's the best youth group game. It's so much fun. This is one of our incoming student ambassadors. This is Daniel. This guy is standing on a chair. He's standing on air. I mean, he flew. But this is us at our retreat. It's one of the games we play during our competitions. We do 2 retreats a year. Our fall retreat is typically very, very relaxed, very laid back, just kind of get to know people and hang out. And then you're just trying to build those relationships. And then spring retreat is much more cutthroat and it's very competitive. No, it's a very good time. We have a great time at both of our retreats. We try to have a different vibe for different retreats that appeals to different kinds of students, but everybody always has a good time at that spring retreat. Again, some of our Thursday night events, our girls' small group going out to Sunset Rock on Lookout Mountain to have a time of prayer and scripture reading and just socializing. We've got a great group of folks there, and this is what it's about. This again was at our fall retreat this past year. Our theme last year was Dylan, called to catch. Called to catch. Sent to gather. It's all right, Dylan. It's been a few months. We had a little call and response thing where I would say called to catch and they would say sent to gather. Pulling that from a couple of verses, but specifically the idea from Matthew 9:38, Jesus saying the harvest is plentiful. Pray to the Lord of the harvest that he'd send out workers into his field. And so we were talking about that at the fall retreat. And we had a young man who had started attending worship with us during the summer. He had grown up in San Francisco Bay Area, did not really have any upbringing anywhere near Christianity. But when he moved to Tennessee, his grandmother had attended Central in the past. And they started talking. They decided, we need to get back into church. And so they began attending church at Central. He was about to enroll at Chat State. And so we started talking. He started coming to the college group. We started inviting him to come to more of the Christian Student Center things. He came kind of sporadically to the Student Center things, but we got him to come on retreat. And we'd gone from one of the times of the lesson to a kind of a small group discussion group after the lesson. And he was talking to Christian Turner. And Christian and this young man's name is Silas start talking about baptism and what baptism does and what baptism is for. And I just see them after the small groups have kind of like broken up and kids are going to go play cards and throw the football, and they're still sitting at this little booth just chatting. And so I come by and I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? And Silas is like, hey, I'm sorry. I don't know if this be all right. I've been talking to Christian, and I don't know. Christian, can you do? And he's like, he was trying to like find the words for him. Christian goes, Silas wants to know if he can get baptized. And I was like, yep. You want to do it? You want to do it right now? And he goes, yeah. And so I said, okay, let's. I said, do you want to talk about it first? And he goes, yeah. And so we sit down and we talk about what baptism is for and what baptism does. And I kind of ask him a few questions, and he knows what it's for. He knows what it does, and he, as far as like getting to that starting line that is baptism, he was ready to start running the race. And so we got the group together and we went out to the lake there at the camp and waded out in there, and Christian baptized Silas into Christ at our fall retreat. And I love getting to have those kinds of moments, especially at something like retreat. It's just, I don't know, it's something about that makes it a little bit extra special. And that's our crew at the spring retreat. Had a great time together. Our different colors are for the different teams, but we had a great crew at our retreat this year. In May, we went to Ecuador. We had an Ecuador mission trip. This was the first mission trip that I got to lead solo, so I'm glad we had a smaller group this year. We came back with the same number that we left with, and that's always my goal. I will say that one girl did come late. And she did return late as well, but that was intentional. She had her brothers were graduating high school, so she came a couple days late, and then she was enjoying it so much that the people that run the camp there in Ecuador asked her, "Hey, do you want to get your flights changed? Do you want to have those couple extra days to stay and continue working with us?" And she was like, she called her parents and was like, "Please, can I stay in there?" Like, "We would love for you to stay in Ecuador." Oh, you're coming back? Yeah, we want you to come back too. Yeah. But no, we had a tremendous time down there working with the folks at Camp Bellevue. It's in Tabacundo, Ecuador, which is near Mount Cayambe, which is when you're walking around camp, they have a prayer path that goes around the perimeter of the camp, and so you can get out and kind of in nature, and it's just this beautiful wooded camp that's up on a mountain away from the city, and it's quiet. And off of one side of the camp, there is a plantation, a rose plantation. And planted on the prayer path, there are eucalyptus trees. And so as you're walking in like the early mornings in Ecuador, because it's on the equator, the sun rises at 6:30 every day and it sets at 6:30 every day. And the weather is about, early in the morning, about 40 degrees, and then caps at about 75 degrees. It's beautiful weather up on the mountain. But you're walking in the cool of the morning and the breeze is blowing. You can smell the roses and the eucalyptus, and it's just like, oh, what a vision of the garden. Just to get to, walk with the Father and pray. And as I'm kind of rounding the corner, there's a little opening in the trees that looks out over this rose plantation, and you can see on very, very exceptionally clear days, Mount Cayambe, over I think 19,000 feet in elevation. Where we were was 10,000 feet, so it goes up another 9,000 feet above us, and it was just this incredible panorama. And so we worked, did just kind of like hard manual labor for the first few days, which is real fun when the air is as thin as it is at 10,000 feet. But we cut trees and we cleaned the prayer path and we got things ready for Monday when we had the kids begin to show up for a VBS that we were doing alongside some students from Harding University. Our student, JT Brewer, he's going to be serving as one of our student ambassadors. That's him on your right. He's going to be one of our student ambassadors this coming year, working with us at the Christian Student Center, but he is also the preacher at the Whitwell congregation. And so when they asked, would anybody like to preach for the church in Ecuador, I threw immediately to JT. I was like, do you want to do your first sermon overseas? And he was like, yeah, that'd be great. And so Rusty, the missionary, he translated, and JT got to preach, which was really, really cool to get to see that. Just the cooperation, and the congregation there really appreciated that. When we were leaving Ecuador, I cannot tell you how many times these students broke out into tears. We've got a plan for, we've got a couple locations that we're looking into for our mission trip this coming year. And a lot of these students were like, can we please come back to Ecuador? Can we please come back here? And so, I mean, they don't care about what the other options are. They want to come back to Ecuador. They love these kids. They love this camp. They love these people. We even had 2 of them that are nursing students that they heard that they were going to have a medical mission campaign in 3 weeks, and they went back to America and they were like, I have got to do everything I can to raise the money to get back to Ecuador in 3 weeks. They weren't able to, unfortunately, but I mean, that tells you the kind of experience that they had. They're trying to scramble just to get back there to continue that work. So some of the things I've referenced here, we do Sunday and Wednesday Bible classes like you would expect. I generally teach those. Sunday nights we have a dinner and a small group at mine and Tabitha's house. It can range anywhere from we'll have sometimes 6 kids, sometimes we'll have 26 or 36 kids. I say kids, young adults in and around our home, and it's great at the beginning of the school year when our yard just fills up with cars. And our neighbors are like, oh, the students are back. The students that our neighbors now know that we have these students, and so they'll ask about them and see how things are going. And Gideon, he's our little boy. He's 4, and he talks about his friends, the college students. Are they coming over to our house tonight? And it's wonderful to see that. Mondays and Wednesdays we do $2 lunches. We've been doing this, I don't know, I think maybe since the 70s. We lose money on these meals, and that's by design. We're not trying to make money off of these meals. We want to offset that cost a little bit, but we want students to be able to come and have a good home-cooked meal, because they have meal plans. They've got food on campus. We're downtown. There's a million restaurants, but it's one thing to go out to a restaurant and have to pay $20 a plate or whatever. It's another thing to go out to the cafeteria, and the cafeteria at UTC, it's better than a lot of schools I've been to, but it's still made, for a large number of people very, very quickly. It's another thing that you get to come to the Student Center and Miss Wanda has cooked this for you. And you get to have just a warm home-cooked meal, and then sometimes the students even get to help prepare those meals. We have a lot of students that really sometimes their first real experience in actual cooking is in that kitchen with Miss Wanda. And then sometimes we have students that come into college and they are great chefs. We had Talia Clark. I mean, man, oh man, can she cook? It was such a huge blessing when she was one of our student ambassadors, and she would work in the kitchen because she would make just some incredible stuff. We've got some really, really great chefs. Dylan, his small group, this past year, Dylan had the most popular guys small group at the Student Center. Dylan, what's your secret? Ribs. Every Thursday, the CSC smelled like a barbecue restaurant. And I'm sitting in my office, just mouth watering, just oh, it smells good in there. But it's just, great work there. Monday nights, we do what's called Sing and Split. This past year, it could be anything from a service event to an outreach event to a Bible study. And we're going to meet together at the end of this week with our student ambassadors for our leadership weekend, and we're going to be planning out what our year is going to look like, and that's going to be one of the things that we talk about. Okay, what do we want to do for Sing and Split this year? Do we want to, go back to the Bible study every week? Do we want to do more outreach stuff? Do we want to do a mix? What kind of rotation do we want to do? But that's one of the things that that's fully student-led. 5 o'clock on Mondays, I go home. I have dinner with my family. I get to spend time with my kid. Dylan and the other student ambassadors, they lead it. They make sure it happens. And that's one of the things that I think is really special about the Student Center is, it's not the Harrison show. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I cannot do what we do without those student ambassadors. They make it happen. Everything from kind of keeping the house tidy to helping with the small groups, helping to plan the retreats. They're the ones that, if I need to know kind of what's going on with people, they know what's going on. If something's not working in Bible class, I can talk to them about it, and they'll be honest with me. They'll say, hey, this series is not connecting. We got to change something. They are absolutely vital to everything that we do. And that's just one of the great examples that in the going on 3 years that I've been there, I think I have been to one sing and split, and that's right after I moved here. And it was just, Tabitha and Gideon weren't up yet, and so I was just staying at the Student Center pretty much, I'd get up early in the morning, go, and I'd stay until it was time to go to bed at night because I was trying to get everything together and figure out what I was doing. And there was just one that I happened to be there for, and so I went out there and just like, okay, what is this? Let's see what they're doing. Let's see what this is like. And I go, yeah, this is good. This is good work. They don't need me for this. Tuesday night we have our free dinner and Devo. That starts at 6:30. It's one of my favorite nights of the week. It is really kind of a high watermark for everything that we're doing there at the Christian Student Center. Again, Wanda and the students, they will prep a meal, and it can be, sometimes at the beginning of the year, it can be 60, 70, it's been as high as 90 students that'll come to a devotional. Sometimes when it's cold and dark, it might be 40 students that'll show up. But we'll have a good crowd, we'll have a good meal, we'll have a time of worship, we'll have a lesson, and then I go home. And the students, they'll go out to cookout, or they'll go to Waffle House, or they'll stay in and play games, or they'll go out and they'll do something together. And sometimes they're there till 11, 12. We'll lock up, and then we'll still have students that want to hang out till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Just because they love spending time together. Wednesday nights we have pizza before Bible class. We started doing that a few years ago. The reason is just Wednesday night attendance was not very good. It was not very good. The reason that the students gave was, well, by the time I get out of class, or by the time I get off of my part-time job and I get back over to campus, it's time to eat dinner, and then I go into the UC to get food, and it's packed. And sometimes the Chick-fil-A there is taking forever or whatever, and by the time I get my food, it's another 10, 15-minute walk over to Central, and by that point it's, we've already been in class for 30 minutes, so like what's the point? And so we started thinking about like, okay, what can we do to make this easier for students? And so we started getting, pizza from Little Caesars, back when it was $5, for a hot and ready pizza. And we're still doing it. Dylan and other guys, they'll go out and they'll pick up that pizza on Wednesday afternoon, bring it back to the Student Center. We'll eat around 5:45, 6 o'clock. Students will come in. We'll have students that sometimes come just for the pizza. And it gives us an opportunity to say, hey, you want to come to Bible study with us? And they do. Oh man, that's 5 minutes. Is that 5 minute bell? Yeah. Okay, so Thursday night, like I said, Thursday night fellowship events, we do a lot of those. Student ambassadors, they are leading, by the time the semester gets rolling, typically one Bible study per week. We have 8 of them. We literally do hundreds, maybe thousands of Bible studies every year. Between the devotionals, the sing and splits, the student ambassador small groups, Bible classes, small group at my house. Students have an opportunity to study the Bible outside of the church building 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. It's a tremendous opportunity for them. We have guys and girls retreats. The guys and girls retreats, I don't plan those. The student ambassadors plan those. And we have our budget item for that is $0. They have to figure out how do we do this on a dime and make it something that people want to go to. And every year students come back with just really, really great stories that I wish I had time for, but they're a lot of fun. Coming up, not this week. This week is our work week. We're going to be getting the Student Center ready for the fall. Next week, we've got the week kind of off, quiet, so they can relax and get settled into their rooms before things get started on that Friday or Saturday. And then that Saturday, August the 22nd, Ice Cream Social at 6:30. This is one of the events that gets a lot of people to show up. We have our Welcome Sunday, open house, Oak Street Roast on campus. We've got our pancake party on Monday night. And then that's going to follow with a Chattanooga scavenger hunt. We've got our Devo on Tuesday with Sonic Run after, because after you eat, it's good to go out and eat some more. We got Capture the Flag after Bible class on Wednesday. We've got a luau on Thursday. We've got an interactive outdoor movie. We're doing Shrek this year, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to advertise for people to kind of like come in costumes and stuff like that, and it'll be, fun, silly thing. Hike and swim at Big Soddy Gulf on Saturday with a cookout at Central, and then that next Sunday night, barbecue and bonfire at our house. And so that's just, however many days, 9 days straight before we get into our regular scheduled stuff. Our mission trip this year is going to be over spring break instead of in May. We had to move it up for a couple of reasons that I'll get into, with the students. Your support matters. We do over 4,600 meals a year. Average price for our budget item is $2.50 a plate. We do somewhere around 2,200 slices of pizza before Bible class. We do over 300 Bible classes a year. We have 70 outreach events. 6 retreats or camps, at least 1 mission trip. Also, the pizza isn't counted as like a meal. It's just, that's a separate budget item all on its own. In the past 2 years, this would not have happened without this congregation. This deck was dangerous. We had a student that was moving out, like she tripped, like she was like actually injured. The grab rail on it was so rotten that I could have grabbed it and crushed it to pulp in my hands. Like it was in very, very bad condition. We were able to make very, very significant repairs because of Signal Mountain. So thank you so much. This was a much needed repair and could not have come at a better time. We've had to replace one of our AC units. We had to replace one of our big freezers. We had to replace one of our big fridges. And then we've got all these little jobs of like painting and building maintenance and all that stuff. We had a student at a devotional recently was sharing about how he came into the student center and he'd gotten a flyer, and he said that he went back to his dorm and he had on his desk a bottle of Tito's vodka and a flyer for the Christian Student Center, and he realized he had a choice. Instead, he poured the bottle down the sink. The work that we're doing there, the work that you are supporting, it's changing lives and it's changing eternities. Since May, we've had 2 weddings and as of Friday, an engagement. He was one of our student ambassadors when I started. She is one of our student ambassadors now. We have had over 50 baptisms in the last 10 years, hundreds more exposed to the gospel. And every year we have students that go from like, I have never led a prayer, led a devotional, led a song, led a small group, to it becoming part of their routine. The red dots are places that we have taken mission trips, just ones that came to mind off the top of my head. I don't have an exhaustive list of over the past 50 years, all the places that we have been. A lot of these places we've gone multiple times. Yellow dots represent students that I personally know that have gone on to serve as missionaries in those locations for at least a year or longer. The blue dots are just students that I personally know that have come from other countries that have been, like, not just come to the Student Center, but have been involved and invested at the Christian Student Center and who have then gone back home to invest in the church and the Christian community back in their own home countries. I personally believe the best way to make a missionary is get them while they're over here and then send them home. It is local work with a global impact. And I just want to say thank you all so much for all that you do, for this work, all that you have done for me, all that you all are doing for God's kingdom here on this mountain and across the globe. God bless you all.